do I want to be constantly like collabing with the hot newest artists and like, you know, playing that whole game? I'm not really fussed. I was a kid and I didn't read contracts. I don't know if you could call it conning or me just being a dumb kid. I do feel British, but American is my mother tongue. Illinois I met shortly after that, I guess. We played a show together in, I think it was St. Louis.
Hi, and this is Lauren Engel of Sidewalk Talk. Today I'm here with Mezzo.
Yo.
You're originally born in London, or?
Yeah.
Like in the city?
Yep.
Oh wow.
North London.
And are your parents originally from there as well?
No, they're both, well, my mom's American and my dad's originally from Israel.
Oh wow. So they went to the UK for?
Well, I think it was because my mom got a job in London, but yeah.
What do your parents do?
My mom's a violinist. Now she teaches music mostly, and my dad's an artist.
Oh wow, so just a super artist like upbringing.
Exactly. I didn't really have any chance to do anything else.
And did your mom teach you violin growing up then?
Yeah, well, that's like the first instrument that she tried to teach me, and I didn't like it because it used to hurt my hands.
Oh.
So I started on guitar shortly after.
Yeah, your dad gave you a guitar when you were like, what, 8 or something? Yeah.
Exactly.
Was that much easier for you?
Yeah. Yeah, so now guitar is pretty much my primary instrument.
And did you take guitar lessons and everything?
I did, yeah.
Oh wow. And you were also in some bands, right, when you were like 11, jazz bands?
Yeah, like a few bands, just to me and my school friends. We used to play around different like school parties and primary schools and pubs and stuff.
Was it original music or was it mostly covers?
We played some originals.
Oh wow.
Yeah, we had a few originals, but yeah, mostly covers.
What did it sound like, the originals?
The originals, I mean, well, I was in a few different kind of bands. So there was one like sort of indie emo band that I was in. Another one where we were like trying to do like jazz funk fusion. And I
that's cool though at 11. Like
solo.
I feel like that's kind of uncommon.
Yeah, I mean, I went to kind of special school that was like more like arts and music focused. So everyone that went to, well, not everyone, but a lot of people that went to the school came from like musical families. And,
oh wow.
Yeah, it was really, I was lucky to go there for sure.
So you really wanted to go to music school? Were your parents kind of pushing you to go to it?
Yeah, they were pushing me to take lessons and stuff. They never really pushed me to go to music school per se. They just sort of put me in that environment and hope for the best.
I guess they weren't really worried if you were doing like arts for your career.
Right. I mean, they would have preferred I was doing something artistic, sure, but they didn't really push me in that direction.
So I guess they weren't like afraid of you potentially having like an unstable career then, because they're used to it.
Right. I'm pretty sure they meant for me to be a struggling artist.
Oh my god. And I guess that took up a lot of your time, right, just with all the band stuff?
Yeah.
Were you into school though?
I did alright, but I didn't finish high school.
Oh, you just decided to quit it, or?
Yeah, I mean, by the end of high school, I had started my music career, like DJing around Europe and stuff, so I didn't really feel the need to pay attention too much.
And you got more into music because DJ Pied Piper came into your school?
Yeah, he was friends with one of the music teachers at my school, and he came in and with his decks and some garage and drum and bass records and taught the class how to mix.
How old were you at that point?
That was probably, I was 12.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. It's so early in the UK.
Yeah, we start earlier and everything in the UK. Drugs, music.
How did you find like electronic music before that. Like, how old were you? Were you like 8 already finding EDM? Or?
Well, when I was 8, I was listening to this Canadian TV music channel called Much Music, which at the time had this, like, I think it was on Saturdays. It was a show where they would just play club music, and yeah, Much Music in general was like really supportive of club music back in the day, and that's how I saw it in my basement.
Yeah.
As
And what were you using back then to produce?
Well, I started when I was like 12, and I started on an early version of Logic.
Oh, okay.
Logic 5 for PC. And then I went to Fruity Loops and Ableton eventually. But
Did people around you, like your friends, produce?
I was the only one that was really interested in production at start. Because back then, everyone was still into bands, and you know, everyone was learning how to play guitar or an instrument, but nobody was really learning how to produce. So I was like one of the only kids that really got into it.
And were you on some like online forums talking to people, or how did you like,
Yeah, I was on a bunch of different
like the Laid Back Luke's, or what?
Which ones was I on? I was on like Trance, like I was, you know, big into trance when I started, so like Trance Addict, the Anjuna Beats forums, Drum and Bass Arena, yeah, Dogs on Acid, that kind of stuff.
Wow, so just like kind of meeting people through the internet, like internet friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. There was this one website that me and a few other people started on that doesn't exist anymore, called internetdj.com. Yeah, it was that. It was exactly how it sounded. But it was cool. Like, anyone could just upload their music. It was like a SoundCloud before SoundCloud.
How else were you like uploading or publishing your music back then? Like, was this during MySpace or?
Yeah, exactly. I put stuff on MySpace or, yeah.
And how did you get in contact with Anjuna Beats?
Well, before that, I had a release on Armada, a few releases on Armada, and I had their attention, I guess. So I just sent them some stuff, and they really liked it.
How old were you when the Armada accepted your stuff?
I think I was like 17.
Wow. So I guess you just figured out everything on your own.
Yeah.
Wow.
Pretty much.
And was it because of the releases on those labels that you were able to tour Europe?
Yeah, definitely. Wow. Yeah. If it wasn't for that, I wouldn't have had that experience. And then coming here, it's like a whole different world. Like, not many people have gotten to travel around Europe, so I feel really lucky.
Was it difficult early on for people to take you seriously when you were touring all over Europe?
Well, back then, it wasn't as common for a DJ to be under the age of 30. So, yeah, it was tough, but yeah, I didn't really feel like I wasn't being taken seriously at the time. I just felt like, you know, what an amazing opportunity I'm having.
Was it easy to transition into touring, like at that age? Were you already like really used to the nightlife?
I mean, yeah, at start it was a lot easier because I was more active going out, and yeah, I just had more energy because I was a teenager.
What did your parents think of you touring at such a young age? Were they scared of like bad influences?
I don't think they were scared, but there was this one time where I had a gig, I think it was in Bratislava, and I had to get a lift to the airport, and I hadn't done the dishes or something. My dad wouldn't give me a lift to the airport, so I missed the show. So yeah, it was very much like I was still a teenager.
And how did you meet Porter Robinson?
He got me to play on his tour. Well, actually before that, he got me to open for him at a show at Shrine back in like 2011 or 2012.
Oh wow.
And then he brought me on tour in 2012 on the language tour. And then yeah, he had a studio set up in the back, and we started easy.
That's cool.
Yeah.
How about with Kill the Noise?
Kill the Noise I met shortly after that, I guess. We played a show together in, I think it was St. Louis. And we had been going back and forth on Twitter and stuff. Like, we seemed like we had a common mindset, I guess. So yeah, when we met, we sort of just clicked and started making tunes together.
And were you still living in the UK at this time, or?
No, I had just moved. to
Oh.
Covina at the time.
Oh, how old were you when you moved here?
Like 21, 22.
Oh. Do a lot of people ask why you don't have a British accent?
Yeah, and that's because I was raised in Cleveland, and when I came back
Raised
here,
where?
In Cleveland.
Oh, you
Ohio.
were?
Yeah. Yeah, because my mom's American, her grandparents lived in Cleveland, so when she and my dad separated, my mom moved to Cleveland, took me and my brothers.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wait, so how old were you?
1.
Oh, so you like barely lived in the UK.
Yeah, but then I moved back when I was 10 or 11.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 11. It's hard to explain to people why, because I do feel British, but American is my mother tongue,
Mm-hmm.
because I was raised in Cleveland. Yeah, when I first went to the UK, everyone said I was American. Then I lived there for 10 years, came back here, and everyone thought I was British.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, my accent completely flip-flopped back and forth.
And it was early on that you found Noisia, right?
Yeah, I was a fan of Noisia from very, very beginning, from like 2006, when I heard their record Facade on
Mm-hmm.
RAM. I was like, holy... at the time, it was like so much more advanced than anything else I'd have ever heard in electronic music production.
Mm-hmm.
Besides, like, maybe Pendulum. But this was different. It was like, you know, dark and interesting, and yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
So I've been a Noisia fan ever since.
Mm-hmm. And it was it them that like dawned on you that they, I mean, do they ghost produce or how it like everything unfolded, but they were kind of one of the catalysts, right?
No, I wouldn't say they were. I mean, I had known about ghost producing for a long time because in trance world it's so common. Couldn't escape it. Like everyone that scene wasn't making their own tunes, and I feel like it's changed a little bit now, where yeah, in like certain sub-genres that's still prevalent, but
Mm-hmm.
generally I think people that make their own music are getting put on a higher platform now. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I used to have a chip on my shoulder about that, but I don't anymore.
And how about when you realized that like artists were paying for headlining slots?
Yeah, I mean, it's just an inevitability, isn't it? It's like where there's money to be made, there's always gonna be people who are happy to oblige and cut a deal, and yeah,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Yeah. And what were you saying like in previous interviews about getting conned by record labels early on?
Well, yeah, I mean, I was a kid and I didn't read contracts. I don't know if you could call it conning or me just being a dumb kid, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like getting tied into 4 option deals with no advance, and like, yeah. It happens to a lot of people, I think.
Mm-hmm.
It's like if you don't go through it in your early years, you go through it in
Yeah.
the later years, and that's worse.
Mm-hmm. Actually, for people who want to be producers now, what kind of advice would you give them, like seeing what you went through?
We'll always read your contract or get someone that you trust that knows what they're doing to read the contract.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, don't just sign things just because it's the first thing that comes to you.
Yeah. Did you not have managers?
No.
Whoa, so when you were touring Europe all yourself, you were arranging everything directly? That's so
Yeah.
impressive at such a
When
young
I-
age.
Yeah, but I mean, without the booking agent and without the tour manager, it's actually kind of easier doing it by yourself, because the promoter hits you up directly, says, hey, do you want to do a show, blah, 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 for how much? And you say yes, and they just send you travel details. And it was so much simpler back then.
And then when did you realize that you wanted to have a manager?
I think having a manager was sort of not imposed on me, but sort of just I fell into it.
Really? How?
At
I
the
bet
time,
people were like probably hitting you up since the onset, right, to manage you?
Actually, no.
Really? Maybe
No,
it's
they
different
weren't.
back then.
It was different back then. You know, the EDM thing hadn't taken off. People didn't really see a huge market yet. But yeah, that changed very quickly. I think it's in 2011 I got, or 2010 I got a manager slash agent who was sort of affiliated with Anjuna Beats. It was like the beginnings of Involved Management, which is Anjuna Beats' management company now.
And were they like helping you, like reading your contracts, like why did you sign all this?
Yeah, by that point I had been done with all the crappy contracts, luckily. But no, they just, they did everything that I was doing myself, but yeah, so I didn't have to do it anymore.
And do you think it's really improved everything, like having a manager, or?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, nowadays I couldn't survive too long without a manager. I mean, for a long time I couldn't survive without a tour manager, but nowadays I go to shows by myself and do it fine. But
yeah,
I feel like the more you add to your team and the more you rely on them, you just end up relying on them completely, and you become very dependent.
That must have been a big jump though, to like have a touring manager for so long, then realize one day that you can just do everything yourself.
Yeah, well, after a while, when you're doing like more than one show a weekend, it's really nice to have someone with you. Just, thinking about all the stuff that you have to, so you don't have to.
And looking back, do you regret your Twitter rant, or you're like, that was something that I learned back then?
I don't know if I regret it. I definitely wouldn't do it now. I am who I am. At the time, that's what I felt like doing, and no regrets.
Yeah. Did you get more backlash from it, like outside of people responding, like people in the industry?
Yeah, not to my face. Yeah, definitely. I felt it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it wasn't like so damaging that I couldn't survive anymore, that I had to compromise anything for my career. I mean, everything else just seemed to carry on as normal.
Have you bumped into all the people that you called out since?
No, but I did talk to Armin recently.
Yeah.
Just,
recently?
Yeah, just...
The tweets were like 2015.
Yeah,
Like for how many years?
Exactly.
What did he say?
Yeah, we're just clearing the air, Like,
yeah.
I was angry and... yeah, but no, I haven't caught up with any of the others.
And what inspired you to have your own record label?
Well, originally it was just because I was impatient. I just wanted to get records out faster. And then eventually Swarty from the M Machine came up to me after one of my shows and started convincing me that he has this album that he should put out on my label and turn the label into something more. So I got convinced, and we did that, and it turned out to go really well. So yeah, it all started from there.
Do you have a whole team for your record label, or how does it work now?
I've got one guy helping me called Andrew. Yeah, he's great. Yeah, but it's just us two.
Yeah.
There was 3 people at one time, but it's too much for such a small label.
And from the onset, was it difficult, like starting it from the onset? You need so much, like finding all these people like submitting music, and also the cover art and just the whole like professional.
Yeah, like finding your people is the sort of task when you're first starting a record label.
Yeah.
The graphic artists you like to work with. That's always been changing ever since we started, but yeah, it was tough at the beginning, for sure, finding all those people.
Did you have someone that you could talk to for advice to start a record label?
Yeah, I mean, I had a bunch of friends, and yeah, but I don't have like one particular label guru that I go to.
And has it been difficult juggling both?
Yeah, I'd say so. I've definitely noticed like having a label and putting time and effort into other people's releases definitely detracts from your own career. But I love it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't trade it for anything, because just knowing that I'm giving some kid who might have never been heard by anybody just the chance to be heard is amazing.
And you also have a group chat, right? Yeah. When did that start?
Like 3 years ago, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just the easiest thing we could have done to give our artists a place to talk to each other, I guess.
And has it been interesting, like being a mentor to all these people?
Yeah, I don't really see myself as a mentor. I just see it as like I'm creating a community of artists around me, and I'm learning more from them, if anything. It's not one way, like, yeah, I'm not the teacher in this scenario. You know, I'm also a student.
You said in a previous interview that the album you put out in 2016 would be your last album, or last album for a while.
Yeah, it's definitely been a while, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's like 3 years.
Yeah, I've got an album project coming up, but it's not just me.
Oh, nice.
I can't really talk too much about it, but yeah, there should be an album next year. But it's not a Matan Zohar album. But I have been working on it.
Why did it take you so long?
Well, just working with other people, you know. We're both busy and yeah.
But you didn't want to put out, like your own album since 2016?
I've started a few ideas for albums that just turned into, I ended up separating them out into single releases.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know, like, I have to really have it in me to make an album. Like, I have to really have an idea and a theme, and yeah, that hasn't really come to me.
Yeah, you mean like not much inspiration recently, or?
Well, I've been putting so much into this other album project, so.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's been taking up all my inspiration and creativity.
What's the inspiration behind Motivate? It's so good, by the way.
Thank you. That started with that synth thing that goes dun dun dun. It's just me messing around with a new free synth I bought.
Nice.
Downloaded, and then I threw that vocal on. The tune sort of wrote itself.
And do you have you said in a previous interview you have the Daft Punk helmet?
Yeah, actually, is he the stage manager? One of the stage managers that always does the Beats shows gave it to me before he was ever involved in the music industry. He was actually following the Language tour as a fan. And he exchanged that for me, that helmet, for, I think it was Tomorrowland.
No
guest
way!
list.
That's so crazy. And have you always been into drawing?
Yeah, well, my dad being an artist sort of he taught all his kids how to draw. So.
Well, what do your drawings look like? Or what do you draw? What do you draw about? I don't know how to say it.
I don't know. I mean, I've learned like classical drawing, so it's.
Oh wow.
Like, you know, my dad was like a big Rembrandt Vermeer fan boy.
Damn.
So yeah, he taught me how to draw like that, I guess.
So that's what you draw like day to day.
Yeah, if I draw, that's usually how I draw.
Do you put it up, your drawings?
Yeah, I've got an ArtStation account. I put all my drawings up on, and sometimes Instagram.
Yeah. Do you think you'll do some like galleries or exhibitions? Why not?
Drawing art for me is just a hobby, and sometimes I'll do some album artwork, but I'm not gonna try and be in that world. The art world is even more poisonous, I guess, than the music
Really?
industry.
Yeah. Or I guess to like link it with some releases.
Yeah.
I know like Drew Lou does something similar, but I mean there's just more like graphic design.
Yeah. And
I
guess
really
Miha
cool.
does like art stuff alongside. Yeah, I should do that. But I don't wanna take art too seriously. That's the thing. I just want to be able to do it for fun when I feel like it, and not have a deadline or have a It's just something I do when I'm bored.
Yeah.
So.
This is something that I ask like people who have been in like EDM for so long, but is it difficult to like stay relevant at times, or like there's so many trends to keep up with?
Yeah, I decided to stop trying to stay relevant. I think. You know, if I'm irrelevant right now, so what? You know, at least I'm still making the music I want to make. So, yeah, obviously I want to stay relevant just so I can stay living in my house. But in terms of like, do I want to be constantly like collabing with the hot newest artists and like, you know, playing that whole game? I'm not really fussed.
How about with all the like trends like going through so quickly? I feel like you've kind of like stayed true.
Yeah, I mean, I have tried new stuff, like when the whole trap thing took off in like 2012, 2013.
Yeah.
I was definitely trying to make some stuff like that. I'm not gonna be closed off to new things that are happening in music, I guess. But I'm also not gonna be like chasing every new thing that comes along that seems popular.
Yeah. How would you say your music has changed compared to the early songs you've made?
Well, the early songs I made, maybe they were better musically, but less well produced, like technically. Like I do look back on some of the music I made, and yeah, I was pretty good at writing music, but I couldn't mix or master for shit. So now it's like the opposite. Like I'm more intentional about the music I make, which is kind of a bad thing. Like when I was more like, I don't know, just in a trance, sort of channeling music. I don't know, I just sort of was more free with it.
Do you think you have more pressure now? Is that why?
Not more pressure, it's just I just think more when I'm writing music instead of feeling. So I think that ends up being apparent in the music.
And how about the style?
The stuff that I was making when I first started was completely different. A lot more happy and uplifting. And nowadays I tend to favor more dark and sinister.
Is there a reason why?
I guess because the happy, like clean, fun thing is everyone else is doing that, popular electronic music. So I guess I just veer more towards stuff that I don't think other people are doing.
What would you say have been the biggest challenges in your life so far?
I mean, I was diagnosed as bipolar a few years ago.
Oh,
That's been a
really?
very big challenge. Yeah, so.
Well, how did you like realize, or
Um,
was it something your parents kind of talked to you about or knew?
No, I sort of found out the hard way. I got admitted to a hospital and they told me. So that's been tough. Yeah, it's been tough wondering if it's just the fucked up system telling me how I am, and I should rebel against that, or should I, not, and just take the medication they prescribe.
Yeah. What kind of advice do you have for people who are bipolar as well?
Oh, I wouldn't know. Every that's the thing, is every bipolar case is different. And some people are more manic, have more manic tendencies, and some people, it's like a spectrum. I'd say I'm pretty low on the spectrum, bipolar. But it's tough. Know that you're not alone, but that doesn't really help.
What does love mean to you?
It's like a calmness. It's like a lack of any stress, or that's a fucking big question.
Yeah.
But it's definitely not the opposite of hate, because I think love and hate are very much linked. The saying that you end up hurting the people that you love most. I think that rings true.
Yeah, it's so true. Last question, what do you want to be remembered for?
Definitely not for going on a Twitter rant. That's all. Yeah, I just want to be remembered for being a good producer and curator and DJ.
Yeah. I love it. This was awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. That was fun.